What is up, everybody? I am Daniel, representing Beyond Us, and more specifically, Beyond Sports. Um, Thank you for joining us in this Week 13 NFL adventure. We apologize for this getting out to you late and for Brett not being able to be here. It has been a very busy weekend. Um, I'm going to try and run through this relatively quickly because it is 3:27 in the morning on Football Sunday, so we want to get these out to you as soon as possible. You can see that our picks are on the board already. Last week I went 7-9. Brett went 8-8. Our major disagreements being on that Kansas City game. The spread just got me by 2 points. We both agreed who would win. The spread just was on Brett's side. It is what it is. Overall records: I am 80, 92, and 7. Brett is 81, 91, and 7. I will not catch up on him this week because we are in complete agreement this week, and that is totally fine. Um, Going over on Thursday, Buffalo did successfully beat the Patriots by and with covering the spread. So Brett and I got that pick right. So going into this weekend, we have Green Bay at Chicago. Chicago getting 4.5 at home. Brett and I are in agreement that Green Bay should win this game and cover that spread. Aaron Rodgers, historically dominant over the Bears, and Rodgers will be playing apparently despite his rib injury and despite the fact that they are all but done this season. I guess they're going to hope for a playoff spot, but uh, we'll see what happens. If certain teams win, their playoff hopes are very far, um, but still plausible, I suppose. But we're going to take Green Bay here. We think that they're still the better put together team, and Chicago has one true threat, and that's Justin Fields, but he can't do it all himself. So we'll take Green Bay. Moving on, we have Pittsburgh getting a point heading into Atlanta. We think Atlanta's the better team. They're both shaky. This one's kind of up in the air. We're both going to take Atlanta. There's not much to say here. We'll see what happens. This is probably one we get wrong, if we're being honest. Then we have the Jets heading into Minnesota. The Jets getting +3. This was one of the ones I was hesitant about, and I almost picked opposite of Brett, just because the Jets have been playing really well this year, if we're being totally honest. But I think Minnesota's just a better team, and realistically, they have more to fight for. Yes, the Jets, as it stands, would be the 7 seed, um, but they're not currently in danger of losing that to anyone. Um, at least this week. Um, and Minnesota is in danger of losing their number 2 seed. Probably not their division, but definitely their number 2 seed. That being said, Minnesota is also one of the few teams that can clinch. One of the few teams that can clinch a playoff spot and can actually clinch their division this week if they win, and Detroit and Green Bay both lose, I believe, or if they both tie or lose. I can't remember, but I know that Minnesota is right on the verge of clinching a division, and they're going to fight for it. Um, we'll move on. Detroit. Speaking of the Detroit Lions, they're going to be hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars getting +1. We think Detroit's better. Detroit has been scrappy all year. They've kind of been fighting hard, and Jacksonville's just been wishy-washy. We know they won last week, but these two are two teams with the same record, but they are not the same caliber. Detroit is the better team. Moving on, we have the Tennessee Titans at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles being the only other team that could potentially clinch a playoff spot. If they win and the right other teams lose, they'll at least guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs. But we'll talk more about it as the weeks go by when your clinching scenarios are more simplistic, if you will. Um, the Titans, fresh off of a loss, Philly, fresh off a couple wins, getting things back together after their winless, or not winless, their undefeated season was put to rest. Um, they they're just the better team. Tennessee is good. I don't think the Eagles will be able to run as well as they did last week against Green Bay, but the Tennessee Titans have a shredded secondary, and Jalen Hurts is going to just rip them apart. So um, it just feels smarter to take Philadelphia here, or I'm sorry, Tennessee here. They're they're just they're good enough to stay in it, I don't think they're good enough to win it. I think they'll win the spread. I don't think they'll win the game, but I'd be happy to see it as a Cowboys fan. But we'll both take Tennessee here. Although I would not be surprised if Philly destroys them. We'll see though. Up next, we got the Browns heading to Houston. Houston 8-point dogs at home. It's just not enough. Cleveland, they're shaky, but they're better than Houston. And actually, let me confirm this, because for a long time this was supposed to be the week that Deshaun Watson returns. Is that still the case? Um, Deshaun Watson will be starting. Yeah, we're gonna take Watson here. He's finished his suspension. It's a revenge game for him with Houston not being willing to stick it out with him. Not that we're saying they should have, but no matter what he's done personally, his physical talent on the field is undeniable. Now, will he still have it? There's a lot of rust for him to shake off. And maybe Houston feels motivated to prove they don't want him and don't need him, but it's just not smart to bet against. So we'll take Cleveland. Washington heading to New York. New York 2-point dogs at home. Kind of surprising. But the NFC East has been really strong. We're both actually going to take Washington here. Washington's a little hot. New York is not. And we're gonna take the Commanders here to kind of keep their thing going and get a little bit further above 500. The Giants will fall a little bit lower, but they'll still be in playoff contention as a wild card. But we're gonna take Washington here actually. Moving on, Denver at Baltimore. Denver getting 9.5. Denver is not a good football team. Baltimore likes to throw away wins, but we don't think they'll throw away this one. We could be wrong. They threw away last week against Jacksonville, but Denver is they're just that bad. So we're going to take Baltimore here, but if Baltimore throws this game away and they manage to lose this game, not just in the spread, but outright, there's going to be serious conversations about what's going on in Baltimore. Moving on, we have Miami getting 4 points in San Francisco. Kind of surprised Miami's getting points here. Brett and I are both going to take Miami. I think Miami wins this game outright. I think Miami is probably the better team. San Francisco's strong, but Miami, I feel like they're stronger. It wasn't until Thursday night that Miami was the number 2 seed, and Buffalo took it over for now. But if Miami wins here, they take it back. I think Miami is really good, and Tua is great. I mean, in games where Tua starts the whole game, they haven't lost. And I don't think that changes here. Could be wrong. We'll see. Then we got the Seahawks heading to the defending Super Bowl champion Rams. Rams getting +7 at home against a team that everybody counted out at the beginning of the year. We're actually going to take Seattle to cover the spread here. We think they're just that much better, and the Rams are just that bad this year. I don't think we have to touch base on it too much. Geno has had a good year, sure. They've lost their last 2, but the Rams have lost their last 5. And if one team has to turn it around, it feels safer to bet on Seattle. Up next, we got the Chargers heading to the Raiders. Chargers, 2.5 point, getting 2.5 points, which is really surprising. Sure, we get that the Chargers are not as good as we thought they would be. And sure, the Raiders are on a 2-game win streak, but the Chargers are still a better team. We're going to take Los Angeles here, although if Oakland, wow. If Las Vegas wins here, maybe it's time to start talking about taking Las Vegas as seriously as we thought we were going to in the beginning of the season. Moving on, Kansas City at Cincinnati. Cincinnati getting 2.5. Now, look, Cincinnati seems to be Kansas City's kryptonite. They beat them twice last year in both big games, but Cincinnati is not the same Cincinnati they were last year, and Kansas City is still the same Kansas City they've been for the past few years. We're going to take Kansas City here. We think they're the stronger team. They're going to fight to keep that number 1 seed, and they're just the safer bet. Sunday Night Football, we got the Colts heading to Dallas, getting 10.5. The only double-digit spread of the week. That Baltimore game was close, but this is the only one. But we're going to say it's not enough. Dallas is hot. Dallas is on a roll. They look like they might be one of the best teams in football right now, right there with Kansas City and Philadelphia. Their defense is probably the best defense in the league, and the Colts just don't have a great offense. It's just the fact of the matter. So we're gonna take Dallas here, despite a 10.5 point spread. That could come to bite us. Dallas likes to kind of let up when they have a lead, but we think the lead's going to be by a lot before they start letting up. And finally, Monday Night Football, we got the Saints heading to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay coming off of a crushing defeat. The Saints coming off of a win, the only team in their division to get a win last week. If the Saints get a win here, they're still in their division's conversation for winning the division. Atlanta maybe wins earlier in the day and takes over the division. Crazy things could happen here. But we think Tampa Bay is the better team. We're going to take Tampa, although New Orleans is known to do crazy things in division. So we'll see what happens. But those are our picks. Just to run through them again real quick. Green Bay, Atlanta, Minnesota, Detroit, Tennessee, Cleveland, Washington, Buffalo, Miami, Seattle, the Chargers, Kansas City, Dallas, and Tampa Bay. If you agree, disagree, let us know. Put your comments, put your picks in the comments, and we'll see you in the YouTube short for this coming Thursday's game, which I do not know offhand. But let us know what you think. Let us know if you think our picks are way off or if you're inclined to agree. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, I am Daniel from Beyond Us. We'll see you later. Bye, guys.